This is a tale without urgency. It proceeds from beginning to middle to end, with no surprises. If you read it slowly, you may feel your attention loosening, like a knot that was never very tight. We start with the standard model of cosmology, because most stories now do. A hot, dense state expands. The expansion continues. Radiation decouples from matter. The background temperature drops to about 2.7 kelvins. Hydrogen and helium prevail. Later, heavier elements appear in stars. Nothing in this paragraph requires suspense. Nothing asks for interpretation. Space has curvature, but the numbers are small enough that you may imagine it flat and feel no guilt. Galaxies form in filaments. They rotate, they merge, they drift apart again, but more distant. If you could count stars in the Milky Way, the count would be large, hundreds of billions. If you could count galaxies, the count would be larger still, hundreds of billions again. These counts are not intimate. They do not change with your mood. You can set them down and pick them up later. They will be the same. The Sun is a main sequence star, mostly hydrogen by mass. It fuses hydrogen into helium in its core. Its light requires about 8 minutes to reach your eyes. The Earth circles it in an orbit that is not a perfect circle, but is close enough for practical sleep. The Moon circles the Earth and makes tides. These facts are repetitive on purpose. Repetition reduces decision-making, and decision-making delays rest. On Earth, rocks cool and crack and drift. Continents assemble and separate. Oceans form, evaporate, return as rain. If you prefer numbers, the surface gravity is approximately 9.8 meters per second squared. The rotation period is about 24 hours. The mean radius is about 6,371 kilometers. You can place these numbers side by side like smooth stones. They are cool to the touch. They make no demands. Life appears. It is not dramatic at first. Replicators copy imperfectly. Selection operates. Diversity accumulates. Cells invent membranes, then organelles, then multicellular cooperation. Plants manage carbon and light. Fungi digest. Insects subdivide the air. Fish, amphibians, reptiles, mammals. Ordinarily, a storyteller would choose a favorite. Here, we will not choose. All are adequate. Humans arrive late and organize information. They create calendars, units, averages, and instruments that click the same way every time. They find that the speed of light in vacuum is constant for all inertial observers. They find that energy and mass share an equation that is brief and indifferent. They find that quantum states are described by amplitudes, which square into probabilities. They notice that the world behaves like a procedural manual with occasional footnotes. The atmosphere is mostly nitrogen, some oxygen, and smaller fractions of other gases. Pressure decreases with altitude in a pattern that can be graphed. Temperature varies in layers called troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere. Wind moves from high to low pressure. Clouds form when vapor condenses on nuclei. None of this is urgent. Clouds will proceed whether or not you care to match their Latin names. Your body is a cooperative arrangement of cells, largely water. There are tissues and organs dedicated to keeping numbers within ranges. Temperature within a narrow band. pH within a narrow band. Blood glucose within a narrow band. If a range is exceeded, signals appear and adjustments occur. If the range is restored, the signals subside. Balanced systems prefer boredom. Boredom is a form of health. The heart moves blood by contraction and relaxation. Arteries carry blood away, veins return it. Capillaries conduct exchange. Hemoglobin binds oxygen, releases it where partial pressure is lower. There is no cliffhanger in this process. It is a conveyor belt. It conveys. The lungs move gases according to diffusion gradients. Air enters, air leaves. Alveoli increase surface area. Surfactant reduces surface tension. The diaphragm lowers, the cavity expands. Pressure drops, flow follows. Breathing is like an equation that solves itself and then politely waits for the next instance. The brain is electrical and chemical. Neurons fire when thresholds are exceeded. Synapses adjust their effectiveness through repeated use. Patterns produce behavior. Behavior produces patterns. During sleep, patterns become slower, then faster in shallow arcs, then slower again. Cycles repeat in a way that can be charted in grayscale. You do not need to supervise them. Sleep is a scheduled maintenance window with no press release. Consider energy. It changes form and conserves itself. Potential becomes kinetic. Chemical becomes thermal. Radiant becomes chemical again. Entropy increases. Systems relax toward arrangements with more accessible microstates. This gradual slide is not a villain. It is policy. Heat flows from warmer to cooler areas without commentary. Equilibrium waits with the patience of a rock. Consider time. You experience it locally. Relativity modifies it near speed and mass, but your nights are slow and terrestrial. Seconds accumulate into minutes, minutes into hours, hours into the kind of silence where decisions are unnecessary. We mark time with oscillations, cesium atoms, quartz crystals, a pendulum that does not mind being ignored. You can stack hours like bricks until a wall appears. On the other side of the wall, morning stands in exactly the same place as yesterday. Chemistry. Atoms share, trade, or ignore electrons. Ionic bonds, covalent bonds, metallic bonds. Reactions proceed when activation barriers are crossed. Catalysts lower those barriers. In water, hydrophobic things cluster, hydrophilic things disperse. Micelles arise like well-behaved committees. Proteins fold into shapes dictated by sequence and solvent. The folded shapes perform tasks. When tasks are finished, products leave and nothing argues. Biology again, but narrower. Memory. Short-term traces. Long-term consolidation. During certain sleep stages, information replays in brief, compressed bursts. Synapses strengthen or weaken according to statistical rules that are not personal. If you cannot remember a name now, you might remember in the morning without having tried. This is not grace, it is procedure. Astronomy again, but quieter. Planets are not remarkable unless you live on one. Some are rocky, some are gaseous, some icy. They orbit, they rotate, their poles tip, their seasons differ. Moons tug, rings hold. Comets visit on schedules that do not consult us. We produce diagrams with ellipses and labels. Even if we stop drawing, the ellipses continue. Technology is the art of asking materials to be consistent. Transistors switch, code branches. Networks route packets along paths chosen by tables that are updated by algorithms. Your device emits light from pixels that open and close in patterns. The patterns approximate letters. The letters approximate thoughts. The thoughts decelerate your day. When you are finished, the screen goes dark. This, too, is a system returning to a lower energy state. Weather offers variability within constraints. Fronts advance, fronts retreat. High pressure suppresses clouds. Low pressure invites them. Rain forms, falls, evaporates, or reaches the ground. Forecast models ingest observations and produce ensembles. The ensemble mean is duller than any single track, which is why it is useful. Geology offers slowness, which is restful. Minerals crystallize according to symmetries that prefer order. Plates drift centimeters per year, collide, subduct. Mountains rise by millimeters and wear down by different millimeters. Volcanoes vent, rivers transport. Deltas grow and then rearrange. If asked to pick a word for this paragraph, gradual would suffice. And after that, you may yawn. Economies, ecosystems, circulations. Many systems share features. Feedback stabilize or destabilize. Negative feedback pulls variables back toward set points. Positive feedback moves them away. Hysteresis remembers the last state. Lags delay the visible effect. The words are longer than the feelings they produce. Now we reduce velocity further. Imagine a room at night. Air exchanges with the larger volume of the building at a rate that could be modeled. Dust settles according to particle size. Materials radiate in the infrared. Bed, wall, curtain. Each at their temperature. Each with emissivity less than 1. Your body cools by conduction, convection, and radiation. There is no tension in this cooling. It is merely the system's way of noticing that time has passed. Your eyes close. Cones rest. Rods rest. The optic nerve relaxes its traffic. Auditory hair cells continue but send less news. Proprioceptors mark position without essay. The autonomic nervous system adjusts heart rate and vessel tone like a caretaker who prefers not to be thanked. You may have the thought that you are thinking too much. This is common. Let the thought stand beside the others, equal in height, approximately the same color. Do not argue. Do not improve it. A thought that receives no reaction becomes uninteresting, and uninteresting things drift down. Some readers like lists near the end, so here is a short one. The universe expands. You do not need to assist. Stars fuse. You do not need to supervise. Cells divide and repair. You do not need to schedule them. Air enters and leaves. You do not need to count. Morning will arrive. You do not need to rehearse it. This tale promised nothing dramatic and has delivered on that promise. We have visited cosmology, geology, biology, chemistry, physics, meteorology, and a room at night without incident. If you feel the weight of your body meeting the mattress, that is gravity, constant at your latitude to a precision that rarely changes. If your breath lengthens, that is carbon dioxide feedback in simple action. If a muscle twitches, that is an electrical adjustment with no plot.